Meet Serena, your virtual companion for emotional support. The ultimate safe space to discuss your thoughts, your fears, and the ups and downs of daily life. Start your free trial today at serena.chat.
Am I the asshole for leaving my long-term boyfriend after he went on an overseas trip with his mother? I, 31, F, have been with my long-term boyfriend M, 32, for 10+ years. We share one child together. We have not gone on a trip overseas ever. There would always be a financial issue. Either one of us may be out of a job or car problems, etc. Some months back he came to know that his siblings had planned a trip and was upset that he wasn't offered the opportunity at least to see if we could afford to go or at least decline. So he got on the phone with his mum to express his concerns and after a lot of back and forth decided that they would take a trip within the following year to visit one of the siblings who lives overseas, just the two of them. I was quite upset about this suggestion as we're a couple with a child and haven't been overseas at all. And that his first trip overseas would be with his mum and not his family. I expressed my thoughts on it and left it as that. Fast forward to the next year. He had obviously been communicating and planning this trip with his mum and now set to leave for 2 weeks while myself and our son remain at home. When he left, I packed up mine and my son's shit and moved into a place of my own with our son so that when he returns, he will return to an empty house? AITA? Did I take it too far? Update. I had expressed this to him many times before that our little family needs to be prioritized and that we, myself, my boyfriend and our son, also need to make memories and do things together. Which he is very laid back about. The trip in question was with brother who is single and sister who has her husband and 2 kids and the mom, who all went on the trip. My frustration comes in where everything with his family is prioritized. Every Christmas or special day of occasion. At this point we're not even married as we have been struggling to get on our feet financially. He had been out of a job for 6 months and my salary, which is OT a lot, made sure the roof was kept over our head. Now that he is back at work he is looking at buying a new car that is unnecessary as it's expensive and would be beyond our means as it would mean any extra monies would be needed for car maintenance and stuff like that. Also considering that I have literally been begging for us to go on a trip to overseas that might not be so expensive for the 3 of us. Just for the experience and memories. But he always complains. This trip with his mum he paid for his own and a little bit of hers. To emphasize, she did not pay for his trip. He paid for his own trip and also contributed to some of her expenses. Not jealous cuz he has gone on local trips with her before. But this time I felt like our circumstances didn't allow for it and I felt like he was being selfish. Cuz I took care of everything when he wasn't working and now that he is working, he decided to go on a trip. Another note to add. Lost my dad at age 12. Being the eldest I was always more responsible in my home as the loss of my dad sent my mum into a deep depression. My son is 3. And only once I had my son did we move in together with plan to marry soon after. I don't earn a lot so it's difficult to save. As my job was the more stable job than his we made the agreement that all the bills would be paid with my salary until he is stable so that we don't fall behind on anything. He has finally found a permanent job and isn't showing signs of trying to balance things financially so that I could also have a bit extra for myself after all the bills are paid. So it's difficult for me to save. His job allows him to earn close to double what I earn. But asking him for anything always leads to an argument. So yes, this was the final straw because given our circumstances a trip was just out of the question. Cuz we supposed to be getting our lives straight and getting on our feet, but he decided that a trip overseas was more important than that. And given that I spoke on these things and he still planned and went ahead with the trip without being straight up made me feel like he also undermined not me but our family dynamic and made his personal wants a priority. Not the asshole he can only afford this trip because your money is our money and his money is fun money and also his. Just make sure that if you rent, your name is off the lease, which may cost, and all bills are transferred into his name. I hope you've already filed for custody and support. He's making twice what you make and he hasn't contributed to the care of your child. Not the asshole he let you support him for 6 months and sound somewhat financially controlling. 10+ years of dating, did you want to get married? I do feel like there is more to the story. I think you've had enough and good luck with your new place. I think it's a bold move and hope it empowers you to not settle. You and your son deserve memories. I'm in the US, start saving and you can stay with me. Not the asshole after the update. Am I the asshole for punishing my son for his preferences? I, 41 female, have 2 children, 14 male and 11 male from my previous marriage. My 14-year-old is the subject of this post. I'll call him Andrew. Andrew has recently begun his first year of high school. He doesn't have a lot of friends because we live closer to a different high school than most of his former classmates ended up at. Luckily, one of his very close friends from a few years back goes to his school. A girl I will call Dana. They have become close again over the last 6-ish weeks. They spend time together at school and she has been coming over on weekends, or him at her house. Andrew talks about her a lot. To be honest, I thought they had crushes on each other. By the way, Dana is mixed black with Vietnamese and we are white. Unfortunately, that is relevant. Last weekend Dana was over for dinner. Things were going normally until my 11-year-old made a joke about Dana being Andrew's girlfriend. My husband and he have been lightly teasing Andrew for a couple of weeks about Dana being his girlfriend and he always denies it hotly. That night after my 11-year-old's joke, Andrew not only denied it but spouted "I don't like black girls," loudly for the entire table to hear, including Dana. I was stunned. Dana looked highly embarrassed. I knew in the moment I would talk to him later, but just for the time being said something like, "Hey, that isn't cool." The remainder of dinner was very awkward and then Dana left. Once she was gone, I told Andrew how he probably hurt Dana's feelings. I explained how black women and girls already struggle with feeling accepted in society, and that he was ignoring the other half of her race entirely. Not to mention the bad example he was setting for his brother. He went on defensive mode and said he just thinks dark girls are ugly, and is tired of people at home and at school thinking he would date someone like her. After that conversation, I told him that he was grounded until he offered Dana a sincere apology and made an effort to learn about Miyoji noir through reading. I then told him that if I were Dana, I would not want to be his friend anymore after his racist remarks. To my astonishment, this has been unpopular with my ex as well as my current husband. My current husband is Puerto Rican, so I was doubly surprised he didn't side with me. They both say that Andrew is entitled to his own preferences when it comes to girls and I am wrong to punish him. I took it more seriously from my current husband who has been on the receiving end of racism. I now do not know what to do. Andrew has apologized to D, but has yet to find a good book on misogynoir and read it. Am I wrong for punishing him? Should I let him off the hook? Am I the asshole? Edit. Thank you everyone for your input. I want to say that I see now I was wrong to view the teasing as lighthearted when it upset my son and led to him lashing out. I feel the need to reaffirm that it was not me who personally was involved in the teasing, which seems to be a common misconception. That said, I haven't argued the point because I can see I was in the wrong for not putting an end to the teasing, and it makes me no better than if I were directly involved. I believe after this thread that I am justified in my punishment of my son for his racism. But the rest owe him an apology just as he owed Dana one. I am going to follow through with the grounding, but I will have a talk with Andrew about what was going on, and try to explain again why he was apologizing. I appreciate all of the recommendations on books and documentaries. It isn't about preferences, it's about humiliating Dana. Your sons are both in the wrong. 11 male for cracking wise at the table about girlfriends, and Andrew's massive overreaction with heavy notes of racism. This makes me wonder if he doesn't have feelings of a kind for Dana. Disappointing that both the dads are dismissing this as preference. The only AHs here are the Y chromosome bearers. Not the asshole. Being entitled to your own preferences doesn't mean being rude to those who doesn't fit them. He could have asked to stop the teasing in kind. The friendship with the girl probably will end, or at least they won't have the same trust. Books, or groups about sensitization or just being discreet. This is bigger than who is the A talk with your son. Dana doesn't deserve that. Nobody does. Where did your son pick up garbage like that at his age? Not at all wrong for punishing him. But, I think you're sending mixed signals here. He deserved to be punished for his outburst, for saying a really shitty thing to Dana. This is about learning discretion, respect, and diversity. In short, he needs to learn to keep his mouth shut and not hurt others. That said, he should not be punished for who he is attracted to. All of us humans have folks we are more attracted to and folks we are less, or not, attracted to. For many reasons, not just race. That is human nature and 110% okay. You are making a mountain out of a molehill by telling him he needs to read a book on misogynoir. My husband and he have been lightly teasing Andrew for a couple of weeks about Dana being his girlfriend and he always denies it hotly. Well, then, everyone sucks here except Dana. Your husband for teasing your son and encouraging your other son to go along with it, your older son for blowing up in such a rude way, and you for allowing this all to happen, and if you want your son to read a book on this topic then you need to provide it to him. Would I be the asshole if I didn't get a mole removed for my friend's wedding? Throwaway. Hi everyone, I'm writing to you all because I've been going back and forth on this issue, and I feel conflicted. My 24F friend, Zoe 25F, is getting married and I am set to be a bridesmaid in her wedding, which is early next year. I am excited for the wedding and am doing everything I can to help her out with planning and setting up. Recently, Zoe asked me out for coffee, away from the other bridesmaids, as she said that she wanted to talk to me about something privately. I agreed and asked her if something was wrong. She said it was nothing huge and she just wanted to talk to me. I met up with Zoe the other day, like she asked. It was there that she told me that she wanted me to get the mole on my face removed before the wedding. I have a mole on my right cheek, kind of near my nose. It's not huge, but it's definitely noticeable. Zoe explained that she wanted everyone to look good in the wedding photos as well as on the wedding day, understandable, and that the mole on my face would be a distraction, and that I wouldn't look good in the photos. She said that she would pay for the surgery out of pocket, as she could afford it, and all I would have to do is go in and get it removed. I told her that I needed time to think about it. She said she understood, but let me know that it would be mandatory for me to have the procedure in order to be a bridesmaid. I said that I would get back to her. I'm really conflicted on this because I have had times where I've been insecure about my mole, and Zoe wasn't lying when she said that it distracts from my face. So, if she was asking me to remove it, it may be better in the long run, and she's paying for it. However, I don't really know if I want such a procedure done to my face, which is why I'm thinking about not going through with it. But Zoe is my friend, and more importantly, she's the bride and I want her to have the best day, which is why I think I may be the asshole if I didn't go through with it. Would I be wrong if I didn't get the mole on my face removed? Edit. Hi everyone. Wow, thanks for all the responses. I just want to clear up a few things. Firstly, I'm not completely insecure about my mole, at least not so much anymore. I used to cover it up with foundation and heavy concealer and all that. Now I feel more comfortable wearing less makeup and not covering it. Doesn't mean that I 100% love it, but I'm slowly starting to embrace it. In all honesty, I haven't really mentioned about my insecurity to Zoe, except maybe once or twice. What this comes down to is I don't know if I would actually want a procedure like that done, but I was conflicted because maybe going through with it would make me look better in a way. And to everyone commenting about Photoshop, it's not just about the pictures. Zoe said that she wanted me to get it removed for the ceremony as well because she doesn't want me to look bad to the guests on her wedding day. For reference, the mole is brown, and maybe about 1/2 a penny in size diameter. The petty part of me wants to suggest you get the mole removed but decline to attend the wedding anyway. Regardless, it's your body and your choice. YWNBTA. Not the asshole. If she's want all her bridesmaids to be bald, would you shave off all your hair? Answer that question first, and then consider the risks involved with shaving compared to the risks involved in surgery. Any surgery. The only example in which Zoe is not a complete asshole is if you have brought up the mole in the past and complained about wanting to have it removed but couldn't due to your financial situation, but since that's not in your story, I'm assuming that's not the case. Not the asshole. That's very shitty of her to make it a condition. However, if you do want it removed anyway, you could just take her money and do it. But you're in no way obligated to. Not the asshole. I'd let her pay for the mole removal if it was something I was interested in anyways. And then decline to be a bridesmaid. Not the asshole. It's an awful thing to ask of someone, have facial surgery or you can't be my bridesmaid. If you think it'd do you good, emotionally, not physically, go through with it. If you don't, then don't. But consider ending that friendship either way. Am I the asshole for calling my boyfriend ridiculous, disrespecting his boundaries and ignoring him? To preface this, my 25 female boyfriend Alex, 26 male, is, simply put, more outgoing than me. I am pretty reserved and quiet, so I don't go out much, and a lot of times Alex takes me out on hangouts with his friends where I always stay pretty quiet. He has reassured me that this is okay with him. A few months ago one of his friends, Luis, 26 male, began to make small talk with me. It was nothing big, asked about my major, Eng Lit. And from there he would just chat with me sometimes. Ask about my classes mainly. He didn't seem to mind that I kept my answers pretty short and instead would go on to talk about his day, his classes, his cat, etc. I have always been more of a listener, so I don't mind. Fast forward to last week, and on Friday, I had gone out with Alex and his friends, and Luis came up to me because he had seen The Green Knight, and he wanted to let me know that he didn't like it since I had mentioned before that it was one of my favorite stories. Medieval lit is a topic that I really enjoy, though I know it's not something that is of interest to a lot of people. Which, I guess, is what contributed to my eagerness to discuss it with Luis, since he did seem interested in the convo. On the way home, my boyfriend was pretty quiet, but beyond asking whether he was okay and him saying yes, I left him be. On Saturday he came over to my house to have dinner and was clearly still upset. During the whole thing, he was irritable, which also began to irritate me since he wouldn't say if something was wrong. So, I admit that I got tired and told him to say if he was upset. He seemed to get more annoyed at me for that and basically told me that he was upset that I had been flirting with Luis the previous night. Apparently, he thinks that because I was grinning from ear to ear, as he put it, that meant that I was flirting with his friend. He basically told me that being that chatty with another guy was inappropriate and that I was disrespecting clear relationship boundaries. He had never shown discomfort with me talking to his friend before, so I asked for clarification about that, and he said that he didn't mind before because I had kept Luis at arm's length. I then went on to call him ridiculous and a hypocrite since he is very close with many of his girlfriends and I have never made a fuss about it or thought that he was flirting with them. He went on to tell me that that was different and that he was not that type of guy, so there was no reason for me to think that to begin with. Now, this genuinely made me angry since that means that he thinks that I am that type of person. After he said this, I told him to get TF out of my house. That was on Saturday, and he has been sending me angry texts and trying to call. I have been ignoring him and I don't feel bad about it. I don't think that I'm being irrational, but I told what happened to a friend of mine and she thinks I'm being in awe. She says that he isn't completely wrong and that I am childish for ignoring him. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I wasn't flirting with Luis, but your accusation and controlling behavior is disgusting. I'd also break up. Not the asshole. What an awesome Luis is, who is going out of his way to make sure you, his friend's partner, feels happy and included. Not the asshole. You did nothing inappropriate and he is treating you like a possession. Not the asshole. I'm sorry your relationship is over. I say this because you are right. He was implying that you are that type of person. You don't deserve that kind of disrespect. This is not a relationship boundary. This is controlling behavior and he just waved a red flag in your face. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is jealous and treating you like he has exclusive rights to have conversation with you.